All right. So good morning, everybody. It is July 18th. It's 10:30 in the morning, and today we're going to be talking about workplace skills, the second in our series, leadership and teamwork. If you have problems hearing the call, all you have to do is call in on the conference line. Otherwise, please use your speakers, and if you have any questions during the presentation, please put them in the chat pod, and we will make sure that we are answering your questions at the end of the presentation. So let's get on our way. So today, our guiding you through the process is myself. I'm Dee Reinhardt. I am with Time to Market, and I'm going to be your guide today. And helping me, as always, the valuable team members from Illinois WorkNet, Natasha Telger, Chelsea Jones, and Lacey Pollock. So today in our session, we're going to be talking about leadership and teamwork. And if you're interested in finding out more about any of this, you can click on the link on the presentation and find the leadership segment in our workforce skills wheel. So General George Patton at one time said, "Lead me, follow me, or get out of my way." So today what we're going to be talking about is leadership and teamwork and how they all play an important part in your work skills and being part of a corporate team. So leadership today is what we're going to be talking about first. And what we want to do is we want to, as I read you this scenario, I want you to answer the two poll questions as soon as I'm done. So Chelsea, if you can make those the right size for me. You are at work and your boss calls into his office. He tells you that he has a new project and wants to put a project team together and is considering including you with the team. Before he adds you to the team, he wants you to tell him what skills you think are needed to work within the team and how your team building skills fit to successfully complete the project. How would you respond? Now, we have two questions. One is if you are the team leader, and one is if you are the team member. So check all that are applicable in this process. You can tell the answers are going how you're reading them down the screen. I think that's kind of interesting. And everybody started at the top pod, which is very good. All right. So we've got quite a few people on the call. We're going to give it just a couple more minutes or a couple more seconds here so that you can get all of the answers going. And then we're going to hide these so that we can move on with the presentation. All right, we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to hide these now. All right, so leadership is based on your interpersonal skills. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about what the components of interpersonal skills are. Basically, it's how you act, interact, and react to those around you. And we have a link where we've gotten some of this information, and if Chelsea can put that in the chat pod for me, I would appreciate it. But when it all boils down to it, the golden rule comes to mind here. You want to treat others the way that you want to be treated. So when you're demonstrating sensitivity and empathy, you want to be able to show sincere interest in others and their concerns and demonstrate sensitivity to the needs and feelings of others. You want to be able to help others resolve sensitive interpersonal problems as appropriate. And you want to look for ways to help people and pitch in to help others. At its core, Empathy is the oil that keeps relationships running smoothly. Empathy means putting yourself in the other person's shoes or seeing things through someone else's eyes. You also want to demonstrate insight into behavior. You want to recognize and accurately interpret the verbal and, very important, nonverbal behavior of others. You want to show insight into the actions and motives of others, and you want to recognize when relationships with others are strained. You want to maintain open relationships through open lines of communication. You want to encourage others to approach with the problems and successes, and you want to establish a high degree of trust and credibility with others. Now, a hard one sometimes for people is to seek feedback. But what you want to do is you want to proactively seek feedback and respond positively to constructive criticism. And there's a big difference between constructive and non-constructive criticism. You want to absorb that feedback and seek new ways to perfect behavior or performance. And you want to easily redirect to appropriate behavior. Take time to consider the feedback and defer the immediate judgment on what people are saying to you. So you want to get your timing right. You want to, so often we rush to solicit feedback before we're really, really ready to do that. And you want to make sure that you're prepared to hear others' opinions of your work. And quite often, we're not really seeking feedback, but we're seeking approval. And do you really want the ego stroking or genuine critique? You want to seek feedback from the right sources. So often we'll go to family members or friends that just really don't know what it is that we're doing. You want to probably go to the right person to give you feedback. So you want to seek out trusted peers or mentors or teachers who have your best interest in mind. And you want to design the feedback process. What do you think is such a vague question that will lead to vague and sometimes wrong feedback? Perhaps you might want to ask these questions. My goal is, and then state what your goal is. Did I achieve the desired outcome? What impact do you want to have on that viewer or reader? And do you want to have minute details or big picture feedback? The next step would be to acknowledge and deal with the emotions. You can be tough as nails, but feedback can become very emotional. If the feedback isn't all positive, you want to set that aside until at least the next day. When you feel more objective, take a look at the feedback and then make your next step. And then you want to sort through it to make sure that it's useful. How do you know which parts of the feedback are right for your work? If you can get defensive and can't move past that, you want to write down your arguments and be sure that you're following your good hunches and not massaging your bruised ego. Constructive criticism is an essential part of creative success. And if you're interested in improving your work, you should be seeking feedback regularly. But it doesn't have to decimate your work and your creative dreams. Do it the right way, and feedback can build, not destroy, your creativity. And you also want to be able to respect diversity. You want to demonstrate sensitivity and respect for the opinions and perspectives, customs, and individual differences of others. Promote and strive to create a workforce and environment that represent the values of the diverse number of people and ideas in your organization. Now, one link that we have is how to apply diversity skills in the workplace, and it talks about avoiding stereotyping people. Act with respect toward others and seek similarities to overcome any barriers. Listen enthusiastically to other people's perspective, and actively recruit diverse group members to make your discussion more effective. Broaden your social circle. Strike up a conversation with somebody who appears different than you. Bookstores and markets are the perfect places to meet people in an open area. And then just be yourself. Learn about other cultures through languages, foods, or the arts by taking a class. And by increasing your awareness, you can help develop your character and broaden your experience. And if you've got the money and the time, visit another country so that you can learn more about other cultures. And last but not least, practice communicating. Effective communication with the understanding that it brings help to everyone to express their ideas and realizing it's okay to be different within the context of respect for others. Excuse me. Next on our agenda is leadership and delegation. So we have another poll question here, and I want to drag this down. And let's take a look. Which of these things are correct? And you can answer more than one answer. Oh, we've got a smart audience. We've got a smart audience. All right, we're going to close the poll question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you for your answers. So delegating efficiently, it's all about how you do what you do. So what we want to do is we want to efficiently delegate tasks so that organizational goals are met within established timelines. We want to delegate tasks that are not central to the leader's role and which allow the leader to use his or her time more effectively. A few of the things that come to mind with delegation is the leader will give you work to do so that he or she can move on to the next phase. And maybe they're planning ahead for the next steps so that you still have a job to keep working. So what you want to do is you want to make a point of explaining clearly what needs to be done as the leader. And you want to delegate, you don't want to delegate things at the last minute. You want to delegate larger projects to teams of people, giving them appropriate responsibility and clearly defining their authority for decision making. And then you want to provide directions at the start of the project and wait for the expected results at the agreed endpoint. If a task is directly related to your own objectives and priorities, you might not want to delegate it. And you want to talk openly about the consequences, deadlines, and expectations. You want to delegate to anyone in the organization that you figure could do the work. And you want to use delegation as a means of developing other skills. You want to delegate work that is critical to the success of the project, and you want to delegate things that come with solutions to the problems that they encounter, instead of simply asking for more instructions. It goes on, but you want to make sure that you're delegating appropriately. You want to make delegation decisions that take into account the size of the task, whether an employee has the necessary background and skills to complete the task, the sensitivity and importance of the task, and you want to make sure that you delegate tasks that are challenging but not overwhelming. And you want to delegate tasks that develop and extend employee skills. So here's 6 steps to doing this appropriately and successfully. Know what you want. If you don't know what you want, you can't expect anyone else to know. They can't read your mind. You want to expect what you want clearly. Make sure that there's a clear vision of what you want. What are your goals? What do you need done? Do you want to provide instructions that can be helpful, but don't overdo that aspect? The most important thing is that you express everything that you want very clearly. Set expectations. It's not enough that you've told someone what you want, but make sure the expectations are laid out on the table. This will be successful if X, Y, and Z happen. and I need X, Y, and Z finished by Friday. Trust. Trust is very important. You need to trust the people that you delegate to. Otherwise, you'll worry too much and end up being a micromanager and a general nuisance, basically. Let them do it their way. You do things your way, and everyone else has to do it exactly the same way or else, right? No, 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 no. Let people do things their way. Remember the trust aspect? More importantly, provide enough flexibility that they can add their own flavor to the mix. Let them be creative. Let them add unique touches to what they're doing. And last but not least, communicate and follow up. Delegating doesn't mean abandoning someone to do something until it's complete. You want to communicate with them through the process. Just like it says, lather, rinse, repeat with the project so that you're communicating, going over expectations, and then asking them if they need any assistance. Excuse me. Follow up with everybody to make sure that it's going smoothly. And it isn't about over-managing or over-analyzing or standing over somebody's shoulder and staring at their computer screen. How hard is it to type when somebody's standing at your shoulder? It makes me nervous as all get out. Communication is key. Setting measurable mini goals along the way and carefully, but not overzealously, monitoring progress. And so you want to monitor their progress. You want to make sure that they're getting things done and that they're on time for the deadlines that have been established. You can monitor their progress in any number of ways. Request regular written or personal reports, access information via your computer, have regular meetings, or offer an open door policy. An open door policy will encourage the people that you delegate tasks to seek support on a day-to-day basis and enable you to provide constant support. And how do you encourage those people? Once you've delegated a task, you must step back. Allow the delegates to complete their mission. Encouraging the delegate to resolve any issues or problems that may arise will stop them from becoming discouraged. And it will also help increase their skills. Therefore, it is very important that you maintain boundaries and keep any review sessions as brief as possible. Always, 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 be polite. Use please and thank you. Don't demand, ask. The same thing, treat people the way you want to be treated. Let's move on to leadership. How can you support others? Theodore Roosevelt, one of our presidents, said, "The best executive is the one who has sense enough to pick good men to do what he wants done and self-restraint enough to keep from meddling with them while they do it." Do you provide a hand up to help others, to help the whole team succeed? Demonstrate positive regard. Show acceptance and positive regard for employees. Maintain a pleasant, cheerful disposition, and provide support and sympathy when others are anxious or upset. Again, the adage of treat others the way you wish to be treated goes a long way with providing good leadership. This doesn't mean that you have to be the best friend of the people who report to you, but things like asking politely, saying thank you, and saying good job on occasion helps build others' positive attitude. What follows are some signs that you might be a micromanager. How many times have we dealt with one of those people? In general, micromanagers, and there's a link here that if Chelsea can put that up in the chat pod, I'd appreciate it. Resist delegating. You immerse yourself in overseeing the projects of others. You start by correcting tiny details instead of looking at the big picture. You take back delegated work before it's finished if they find a mistake in it, and you discourage others from making decisions without consulting you. Part of being a good manager, one often lost on those of the micromanagement variety, is listening. Managers fail to listen when they forget their employees have important insights, and people who don't feel listened to become disengaged. What can you do if you work for a micromanager? Help your boss delegate to you more effectively by prompting him to give you all the information you'll need up front, and then set interim review points along the way. You can also volunteer to take on work or projects that you're confident you'll be good at. This will start to increase the manager's confidence in you and his delegation skills. Make sure that you communicate progress to your boss regularly to discourage him from seeking information just because he hasn't had any for a while. Concentrate on helping your boss to change one micromanagement habit at a time. Remember, he's only human too and is allowed to make mistakes. Micromanagement tends to restrict the ability of micromanaged people to develop and grow. It also limits what the micromanager's team can achieve because everything has to go through him or her. When a boss is reluctant to delegate, focuses on details instead of the big picture, and discourages his staff from taking the initiative, there's every chance that he's sliding toward micromanagement. The first step in avoiding the micromanagement trap, or getting out of the way once you're in it, is to recognize the danger signs by talking to your staff or boss. If you're micromanaged, help your boss see there is a better way of working. And if you are a micromanager, work hard on those delegation skills and learn to trust. Trust your staff to develop and deliver. Do you counsel your staff? You counsel and encourage employees who have motivational or performance problems. Indicate a desire to help subordinates learn from their mistakes and overcome performance problems. Helping others excel on their own is a great way to build confidence in your employees. Once upon a time, when I worked in a retail environment, before cash registers did everything for you, I had an assistant manager who kept having challenges getting the books to balance at the end of the day. We worked on this for weeks. I kept trying various methods to teach her how to work with sales and money. Finally, at one point, this assistant manager told me that they suffered from dyslexia. Just sharing that one item made a huge difference in the approach I used to try to counsel that employee. Had they not shared that important detail with me, the counseling might not have ended in a positive way. Do you advocate for your employees? Publicly affirm the importance and value of the individual and group tasks in order to minimize the effect of budget cuts or other constraints on resources. When you skillfully advocate on behalf of employees, teams, and their work, they work harder to increase the prominence, and you need to work harder to increase the prominence of employees or teams' work within an organization. Do you help? Pitch in to help support subordinates or coworkers when the workload is high. Minimize disruptions and help employees overcome bureaucratic work obstacles. Work with leaders in other organizational units to keep work flowing smoothly. Occasionally, someone may be content where they are. For example, Doug from that TV show, The King of Queens, he was very content to be an IBS driver. He didn't want to be a management position. So understanding where a person is the key to being a great leader. If you wish to try to motivate someone with lower ambition, you might try some of the following. Start by identifying what truly motivates every individual on your team. Next, use this insight to tailor your motivation and rewards so that their job is meaningful and effective. It's also important to modify your leadership style with these people. Sometimes using a path-goal strategy will help these individuals achieve the best results. And a path-goal strategy is clarifying the path so subordinates know which way to go, remove any roadblocks that are stopping them from getting there, and increase the rewards along the route. In summary, leadership is a process of influence in which one person can enlist the aid and support of others in accomplishment of a common task. So let's move on to teamwork. Okay, we have another scenario, and we have another set of poll questions for you. And when I read the scenario, I would like for you to answer the question. You are working in an entry-level position under a farm rancher taking care of livestock, crops, equipment, and buildings. It has been a dry season, and the crops are not growing as well as they should. The supervisor pulls the team together to come up with ways to save the crops. How can your teamwork skills contribute to the team? And you can answer multiple answers. So what would you do as the employee, and what would you do as the team leader? We've got some big answers going on. Lots of people are answering the questions. All right. We're going to give it another few seconds, and then we're going to close the polling questions. So we're going to give it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you for your answers, everybody. I appreciate that. So you want to monitor the team. The old adage of there is no I in team applies here. How many of you play or played sports on a team? Raise your hands. Use the little man at the top of the screen. You play or played sports on a team. Oh, looks like we've got quite a few. All right. Even if you are Patrick Sharp or Michael Jordan or even LeBron James, you need other members of the team to help you win the game. It's the same thing in the workplace. Even if you are a solopreneur, like I'm a solopreneur, I work as a consultant by myself, but there's other people with whom I team up to share resources or I rely upon to help me complete a project. If it weren't for the team of wonderfully talented ladies at Illinois WorkNet, these webinars might not ever take place. So let's talk about the components listed on the slide. We want to acknowledge team members and their role. We want to accept membership in the team, and we want to show loyalty to the team. Determine when to be a leader and when to be a follower, depending on what is needed to achieve the team's goals and activities. You want to encourage others to express their ideas and opinions, identify and draw upon team members' strengths and weaknesses to achieve results, and you want to learn from other team members. Nobody knows everything, so you always need to learn from other team members. Establish productive relationships. You want to develop constructive and cooperative working relationships with others. You want to exhibit tact and diplomacy and strive to build consensus. Show sensitivity to the thoughts and opinions of other team members. Deliver constructive criticism and voice objections to others' ideas and opinions in a supportive, non-accusatory way. You want to respond appropriately to positive and negative feedback, and you want to attend team meetings focusing on the topic at hand. Offer facts and ideas and help others to contribute. You want to look for ways to help others, and you want to recognize others for their contributions. Let others know what is needed to get the job done. Next, you want to identify with the team and its goals. You want to identify the goals, norms, values, and customs of the team. Is it a team player that contributes to the group efforts? You want to use a group approach to identify problems and develop solutions based on group consensus. You want to effectively communicate with all members of the group or team to achieve team goals and objectives. And last but not least, you want to resolve conflict. You want to bring others together to reconcile differences. You want to handle conflict maturely by exercising give and take to achieve results for all parties. You want to reach formal or informal agreements that promote mutual goals and interests and obtain commitment to those agreements from individuals or groups. So, a team is a group of individuals who work together to complete a task. They need to achieve a result. How do they do it? They cooperate with each other. They join forces. They work in partnership to be effective. They must communicate to share thoughts, opinions, and information. Is the team working together for the end goal? If the individual team members are not working for the good of the whole, does it affect the entire team? Yes. The leader needs to balance the contributions. Some team members want to ensure that everyone is doing their fair share, but no relationship is ever 50-50. At times, one member of the team may be doing more than another, but as long as everyone feels that their share of the project is in proportion, the project is in balance. Team members should share their experience and knowledge, brainstorm, help others struggling with a particular portion of a project. It may be nothing more than a word of encouragement to help maintain or boost another team member's self-confidence or self-esteem. Is the team a cohesive unit? On some of those dance shows, you hear the judges remark that that couple has no chemistry, which can apply to a team. The old adage, one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch, is representative of a team member not being cohesive with the rest. What happens when the team is not working as a team? Most of the time, you don't have a locker room atmosphere where what is said in the locker room stays in there. What will work best is learning how to manage the conflict and build a better team unity. Gather information. Identify sources of conflicts and provide parties with an opportunity to express their point of view. Remain impartial in gathering and verifying information relevant to the conflict. Sometimes a team is just not coming together as a unit. Performance could be suffering because of it. Performance equals ability times motivation. Performance equals ability times motivation. Sometimes the ability is not there. Other times the motivation is not there. Perhaps you could employ a few of these tactics. Resupply. Do the team members have all they need to meet expectations? Retrain. Are all the team members' skills up to date? Refit. Part of the job may need to be reassigned to a different person. Reassign. Maybe you've assigned the wrong person to the job. A reassignment might well make the difference. Release. This is a last resort. You may need to release someone so that the team may be able to improve. You want to encourage resolution. Make healthy use of conflict and disagreement to promote learning and expand team perspectives. Encourage parties to work together towards problem resolution and work with parties to identify a range of acceptable solutions. When appropriate, propose effective compromises that satisfy some of each party's needs. Ensure mutual commitment to a solution. Habit number 5 from Stephen Covey is to seek first to understand, then to be understood. Part of conflict resolution is to understand the other person's perspective. Both parties could be thinking the exact same thing, but they've just not expressed it verbally enough to be understood. You want to discourage unproductive behavior. Express concern for improving relations among team members. Explain how dispute is affecting others. Discourage non-productive behavior such as threats, insults, stereotyping, or exaggerations. And last but not least, you want to build a cooperative team. You want to encourage and build mutual trust. You want to respect and cooperate among the team members. And you want to seize the opportunity and utilize creative methods to build cooperation and cohesion. Team building that actually builds teams comes at the very beginning. What are the challenges the team will face? Help them by building exercises that will help them through those issues. Team building needs to be continuous throughout the year, not just at a once-a-year meeting. So the points that we'd like for you to remember today is that leadership is a process of influence in which one person can enlist the aid and support of others in the accomplishment of a common task. Teamwork is work done by several associates, each doing a part to achieve a goal without allowing any one person's personal importance to affect the efficiency of the group. Will you be able to showcase how you can meet the criteria of these two skills with an employer through your actions or examples? We have our series happening on soft skills and workplace skills. Our first session is recorded and on YouTube and will be available on Illinois workNet. We will be posting that news item later today. Today's session will be posted on YouTube as well as on Illinois workNet. And you can find the chat, the presentation, and the recording all on one spot. This afternoon we will be talking about career development and work ethic, and next week we will be talking about positive attitude, reasoning, and communications. So if you'd like to join us on our Facebook page, on LinkedIn, or in our LinkedIn group, you can find us, and Chelsea has or will put the LinkedIn group link on the chat pod. And if you would be so kind as to answer the polling questions at the bottom, we would appreciate knowing how you enjoyed or will be able to make use of this presentation. So I don't see any questions from the chat pod. So if you have any last-minute questions, please put them in the chat pod, and we'll answer those for you. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation, and I hope you are going to be joining us for the future ones. Chelsea said that the Independence and Initiative video has already been posted, and she put the link in the chat pod. If you want to click on those links, they will open to a new window. All right. I don't see any questions. Thank you very much for your attendance. We will see you this afternoon at 1:30. Thanks very much for your time today. We appreciate it, everybody from Illinois workNet. And thanks to Chelsea and Lacey and Natasha for being such great team members.